V-Shred, the most hated fitness influencer on the internet. His six-pack ads have probably interrupted your YouTube videos more times than I've changed boxer shorts. And he's the one thing that unites all fitness coaches. They'll set aside their petty beefs to collectively dunk on the skid marks this gentleman has smeared across the industry. Oh, and apparently he was responsible for 2020. So I decided to venture down the V-Shred glory hole and buy one of his custom programs instead of just hating from afar. But here's where it gets weird. What I found inside completely contradicts everything you've ever heard about V-Shred, and honestly, it shocked me. So in this video, I'll show you exactly what I got, what genuinely surprised me, and by the end, you'll know if it's worth actually opening up your wallet or I get ripped off like a cheap circumcision. So I'm on the website now, this is the first time looking at it, and right away it's telling you to take a free body type quiz. The problem is, somatotypes have been vastly debunked because they're originally made by a psychologist known as William Sheldon, trying to base people's characteristics on their body type. And we can see this when we're looking at actors that have gone through crazy body transformations for their roles in movies. The one that comes to mind is Christian Bale, who we've seen at high levels of body fat, so you could label him as an endomorph, who's got super jacked, so you could label him as a mesomorph, or looked like he was surviving on licking an apple for breakfast and shouting at his reflection for dinner in The Machinist. I want to just go and buy something or see what the quiz is going to give me, but I've just got his really... He's a good-looking lad. He wouldn't survive in prison, that's for sure. But he is clearly very marketable, and that's why he is the face of the brand. And hey, he's got thousands of 5-star reviews, glowing reviews even. But I can't help but feel my rusty senses tingling. It sounds like a euphemism. So let's check out what Trustpilot has to say. Karen, yeah, I should have read the reviews first. All the upfront promises, then once you pay, it's, oh yeah, now you have to spend more money. See, trusting V-Shred is like thinking the stripper really loves you. I think I'm gonna go for this custom coaching program. I'm guessing that would be the best if it's custom. Designed just for me. The custom diet and training plan apparently retails at $300 a month, but slap my neck and call me Sally, it was discounted to $97. So I whipped it out, slipped in my pin, and then I was rejected. It's high school all over again. Okay, I somehow made it work. So he's already upselling me with some supplements, which will probably see weight loss just because my pants will be filling up with problems. I could guarantee, my bell end will be singing Beyonce before this countdown timer has any actual meaning. I had to wait 72 hours for my program, but when it finally arrived, I was actually shocked. I told my friend Luke, at first glance, it looked, well, good. Had we all been wrong about V-Shred?
He's just a retard.
Had he finally turned a leaf and started giving decent advice? It kind of threw me. I started rethinking this entire challenge. I was even ready to delete my YouTube banner. I hadn't read it properly yet because I've got the attention span of a coked up toddler, and I wanted to give this challenge an honest review. Alright, so looking at my meal plan, right off the bat, they've given me 3,500 calories. Now, I put myself down as fat loss, and 3,500 calories for me at 100 kilos is a lot. Like, that's really my bulking calories. Maintenance for me is anywhere between kind of 3,000 to 3,200. So I'd be interested to know where they've been getting those calculations from. And then the next thing I've noticed is my protein is anywhere between 300 grams to 370 grams. So I'm going to be swallowing more protein than Bonnie Blue when her rent is due. But from first glance, everything looks pretty good, whole foods. So I'm not gonna stick to one specific day, honestly, because I mentioned to Marjana, what should we be having for dinner? And she didn't like any of them except one of them, which was a lunch. So I'm gonna swap some stuff around, but it's all gonna come to the same overall calories. And that's one of the benefits of being able to track calories as opposed to, say, being stuck to a given meal plan. And this is why with meal plans, you want to be a bit careful, because sometimes if you're looking at a meal plan and you think you can only stick to what is on there, trying to break away from that can then cause this kind of, well, you know, screw it mentality and then throw everything out. Marjana started low in the morn, mowing the lawn. Right, well, clearly I need breakfast, so let's get started. All right, so this is breakfast. We've got 300 grams of low-fat Greek yogurt. We've got 2 big orange balls for me to motorboat, which makes me empathize with my wife. And we have 4 scrambled eggs. Now, whilst I'm getting this into my face hole, I'm looking through my diet plan. And one thing that's really stuck out to me is in the custom application, I had put down that I would love rice in my plan, which I think is a simple enough dietary food to put into a meal plan. And there's not one meal in my 5, 6, 7 day meal plan with rice in it, which I think is a bit weird. I also put down that mango, pineapple are my favorite fruit. There's none of that. I did say I don't want potatoes. Although I absolutely love potatoes, I just wanted to see if they were gonna actually customize it. And I don't see any potatoes on there. So again, it's a bit hit and miss. All in all, this meal came to about 700 calories and 62 grams of protein with nearly 4 grams of fiber. So a really decent, balanced meal. And really tasty. All right, finishing up with the Greek yogurt. Little did I know, the Greek yogurt in that meal was just a warm up for the shit ton that was waiting in my final snack. But on my hunt for one of the ingredients, I crossed paths with an older gentleman also searching for savoury biscuits. He asked where I was from, and because I'm painfully British, I nodded politely and somehow ended up learning about his son, his 40 years of various jobs, a fight he once got into in a Tesco queue, and his time at British Rail. Apparently, Harry worked at Sainsbury's and the signs were all deliberately misleading, part of some psychological labyrinth designed to break us.
And you made sure that you changed it and actually put up false signage. It's all nasty psychology.
I just need to find some pretzels. I can't find pretzels anywhere. Right, breakfast done, no complaints. Now we're gonna head to the gym and get some training in. Hello? What now? All right, so we've just pulled up to the gym in my wife's Stormtrooper helmet on wheels, no less. And I'll put the program up on the screen now. But it looks like from what I can see, I've got a chest and triceps day, I've got a back and biceps day, I've got a leg day. I've then got listed another back and biceps day, but that actually looks like an upper body day. And then I've got listed a full body day, but it looks like another back and biceps day. All right, so we're gonna train back and biceps. I'm a married man, I can take a hint. And just on first glance, they want us to be doing some warm-ups, and there's nothing necessarily wrong with doing some warm-ups like this with some light resistance bands or just moving our body, especially if it just helps you get into a psychological frame of mind to get prepped and ready for the workout. But also, you don't need to waste your time with this either, especially if it's not anything that's related with the actual movements that you're doing. You're better off just spending most of your time on your warm-up sets, getting your muscles, your joints, and your central nervous system primed and ready for the movements that you're about to do, bridging up in weight to work to your working weight, and then that way you can just save time and actually have an effective warm-up that's going to be applicable to the workout you're doing. This is a fantastic exercise, especially for helping with stabilizing the lower back. But if you're finding that your lower back is the thing that fatigues and you can't quite get enough focus on actually doing the rowing motion, or maybe you've got your other lower back loading exercises either in the remainder of your program or the workout itself, I do find using a chest support via a bench really helpful to allow you to stabilize, produce more force, and take off a little bit of that loading from the lower back. And if you want to see how to get into this without using a crazy setup, first and foremost, put one leg leading forward, then put the other knee onto the bench, put that same side dumbbell down onto the bench, bring your chest down to the bench with the other dumbbell lying down, bring the other dumbbell down, and then you can bring your feet, and now you're in a position where you've got a good chest support to brace against, and you're able to produce more force across the target tissues. Now, if you're a lady that's well endowed with some snuggle bags, then you may find this a tad uncomfortable. There's a couple of things that you can do to make sure that those girls don't end up flatter than the earth. I'm kidding, earth isn't flat. All around, it's fucked. But what you can do is, of course, you can either scooch up, let them hang out, or you can stick a yoga mat or an ab mat of some kind underneath around your solar plexus area. And again, just give some space for the old girls. One thing about this program is it only lists sets and reps. There's no indication of what intensity to train at. And that can be confusing because then you're like, well, what weight should I use? And how should I approach these sets? Should I use the same weight on each set? So it's important to have details like that so you understand what
and how to actually apply yourself to a program like this, because I could give this program to 5 people and they would all get different results depending on how they actually apply themselves to the program. And shameless plug, that's exactly what we do with inside my proven coaching app. Like, we give you the details of not only your sets and your reps, but also the intensity at which you should be training at. So how far away from failure you should be training, i.e. the reps that slow down and have you looking like a shitting turtle, and also tempo, so that you know how to control the movement, where the exercises may be more challenging on a muscle, on a particular exercise, and then giving you feedback on how you're actually applying yourself to the program. Because it's one thing knowing what to do, but it's a whole other ball game to actually apply yourself. And arguably that's more important for you to get results. And another thing is, a lot of these exercises are following the same movement pattern. Nearly all of the back exercises are really following this kind of sagittal plane, where we're keeping the elbow and the upper arm close to our rib cage. So it's going to be biasing, a lot of the lats. That means that are going to be getting a lot of volume, and after a while the latter sets of those yet again are going to start getting redundant. As we know, volume isn't linear, i.e. the sets that we provide, it's not like if we give you 4 sets on an exercise within a muscle group that all of those sets are giving you 25% equal stimulation. There is an uneven distribution where the initial sets are providing the most stimulus, and then every subsequent set is providing less and less, until we get to about 6 to 8 sets within a workout, and then we get to that point of diminishing returns. And if that just sounded like a mouth sex thesaurus with a bunch of words, and you don't quite understand this whole muscle building gig, I put together an entire free guide called Build Without Bullshit, which is free. It's in the link, is in the description for you to download. That dives into how the process of muscle building is, again, done in my should we say, non-serious way, and then also my 3 favorite exercises for each muscle group. All right, next meal is steak and these honey glazed carrots, which actually look delicious, and I'm looking forward to tucking into this because I don't eat red meat that much. If you're wondering how I take my steak, almost as rare as a hybrid athlete who isn't just an average lifter and shit runner. Like I said, I don't eat red meat that much, and it's been a long time since I've cooked steak, so that is definitely not rare. That is more like the bottom of a shoe. So this meal comes to just over 500 calories and 80 grams of protein. Now, nowhere on my plan did it say to have a Pepsi Max, but it's always nice, especially if you're dieting, to have one, I think. And if you're worried about artificial sweeteners, you may want to be worried more about natural stupidity that spreads fear online based off very poor research or no research in some cases. And this is where I think a lot of people, such as V-Shred, who use scientific buzz terms like fixing your metabolism, your slow metabolism being the reason that you are not able to lose body fat, build muscle, and you're unhappy in your body, and so you're a worthless human and need to buy my stuff. The thing is, when people talk about metabolism, they talk about it like it's this mysterious entity that's residing inside of you, like a little gremlin, dictating whether you look like a melted candle or not because of your body fat and muscle mass. But metabolism is a catch-all term for all of the biochemical processes that are happening in your body, both the anabolic, so taking smaller compounds and building them up into bigger compounds, and the catabolic, taking those bigger compounds, breaking them down into smaller compounds, essentially converting calories into usable energy for all of the things that you want to do, like keeping alive. But the problem is with these internet marketers is they'll make you believe that it's your metabolism that is the reason that you can't lose fat or build muscle, especially as you age beyond 30 plus. But that is not the reason that you can't change your body composition. And there was a really great study done on this where they were looking at a population level and found that metabolism was pretty stable between the ages of 20 and well into your 60s. And that's not to say like as you get older, it's not harder to build muscle and burn body fat. It absolutely is, but not because of your metabolism. It's because as you get older, you've got more responsibilities, you've got more stress, and you're fully trained in social anxiety attacks. So you'd much rather stay at home, binge Vox Machina, than go out to the club and be popping pills and dancing till 4 a.m. And I hope that doesn't come across as condescending. I truly want that to be empowering. The fact that you do have control over your body. But we aren't all going to have the same level playing field. There are, of course, going to be genetic, environmental, and psychological factors that make things easier, harder for you to be able to build muscle and burn fat. But just know that it's not your metabolism that's going to be the thing to blame. All right, so I got one of his abdominal programs, which promised me tighter abs than a nuns and knickers within the fastest time possible. I might be paraphrasing there, but you get the gist. And I thought we may as well do it within the garage gym, which we've just painted. And I'm gonna be having a whole video on the decisions behind the lighting and the process of setting this up, the equipment we've chosen. So if you're interested in that, do make sure you subscribe to your channel because that's gonna be up and coming. But for now, let's try not to shit a kidney doing some abs and cardio, and let's see how we get on. I was halfway through emotionally collapsing and calling it a burpee when my wieners quite literally dogpiled me. And then Andy stole my hat, instantly turning it into a far more productive cardio session.
Run. Run.
Right, after Andy made me hungry, we are back in the kitchen, and for dinner we are going with the chicken Alfredo pasta. I'll be completely honest, I couldn't find Alfredo sauce, and so I've gone for some carbonara, which in my very non-chef brain is basically the same thing. Okay, so Alfredo, not Alfredo, Alfredo chicken. Alfredo. I think that's the other thing as well with meal plans in general. I like the variety of recipes. I think that's good. It helps people like show different choices and things, but paralysis by analysis, and like you say, an element of like, especially if you're busy, especially if you just haven't got time to even stop, you know, you're not gonna be able to put together a Michelin star meal every single day.
Also from a perspective of doing weekly shop, it's really frustrating going to check for all the recipes and all the ingredients.
Most of us eat the same 10 to 12 meals anyway, and it's just trying to find the meals that then you can have on rotation that help you hit your targets and that you can enjoy and that fit within your lifestyle. It was time for my final meal, and I had to check the measurements 5 times to make sure I wasn't having a stroke, because it called for 600 grams of Greek yogurt, 170 grams of cottage cheese, 57 grams of cashews, 9 large strawberries, and 6 pretzels. That much cream, nuts, and a salty finish had me questioning whether this was actually a rehearsal for OnlyFans. I'm not sure what happened or who hurt the person who felt the need to give me a bukkake party in a bowl, but I think this is a good analogy for summarizing it all. Like, on the outside it looks pretty good at first glance until you dive deeper and then weigh everything up. Was it a custom plan? I don't think so. I think this was just a run-of-the-mill program, meal plan, that they give to everyone. As I continued to gargle Greek yogurt, I reflected on my choices. What initially seemed like a surprisingly decent program quickly dissolved into a cookie cutter template that used a dildo as a rolling pin. The workouts were basic and made little sense. The meal plan was packed with whole foods and loads of recipes, but completely ignored my preferences and tried to drown me in dairy. And just as Karen said, nearly every page or email was trying to upsell me with supplements I didn't need. So it looks like the YouTube banner stays up. The thing is, with people like V-Shred, they're not the people who are going to be coaching and actually doing the programming. They're just the face of the brand. They are the puppet. There are going to be other people pulling the strings, telling them what to say, telling them all the gibberish, which is going to help create more sales. And that's what all these charlatans do. It's just a funnel to try to get you to bleed your wallet dry with all the things that you want to hear, over promising and under delivering. And V-Shred is one of those people that can say a lot without actually saying anything at all. But I'm sure for as long as he has a hole in his ass, he'll continue doing this and people will continue to fall for it. Anyway, I've got a lot of washing up to do. I am the head of washing up in this household, as you'll know if you watched my last video, which was all about how I grew my arms to 18 inches by training legs. And in that, I cover all the principles around building muscle and applying that to a sensible program, especially if your goal is to build bigger arms. So do check that out. I'm now gonna go lie down and cry, probably weeping tears of sour dairy, and I will see you in the next one.